fishing as long as I've been able to hold a rod. My mom got me into fishing when I was young, believe it or not, and she took me any chance she could, and I've been in love with it ever since.
I got involved in fishing at a young age. My grandparents used to take me out 2, 3, 4 times a week. Instead of having a babysitter or a nanny at a young age, I had grandparents that took me fishing, and I'm very fortunate for that to this day. I can't even remember how young I was, truthfully. I'm guessing a year, 2 years. I remember being so young I couldn't even hold a rod and just kind of huddling in the boat under a console and under a rainstorm and just enjoying being out on the water.
It was one of her hobbies, and we had a camp on Longbow Lake, and she had taken me when I was super young, and then once I could kind of hold a rod and do my own thing, then I just was bugging my parents nonstop to go. So fishing is the ultimate chess match. There's so many more variables in it than any other sport. You have, conditions, weather, time of year, water temperature. There's so many variables in fishing. And then you throw competition on top of that, and it really is the ultimate chess match. I remember in 2014 during the KBI, for the second day of the tournament, we set the lake record for 5 biggest largemouths at the time. It's since been broken, and I just remember catching something, and a hook bent, and I was retying a bait, or it got bit off, and I just heard the most huge cannonball go off in the world, and Jamie's just yelled, "I have a giant," and my heart sank, because you never hear that from him. And it came up and it jumped, and I thought I knocked it off with the net, and it bulldogged under the boat, and when it came up and hit the net, it was like a 6.25 pounder, or 6 pounder, something like that. I can't even remember, and we were just beside ourselves. So his hook was actually bent at that point, so I sat down to retie them both, and within 10 seconds he yells at me, "I got another giant." And I didn't even have time to stand up, and I just netted it sitting down, flipped it in the boat, and there we are with the 2 biggest bass either of us had ever seen in a tournament, and you can't beat a feeling like that. I haven't had a lull in my life at all with fishing. I've never quit it for a month or a year or anything like that. It's just been, it's a huge part of my life. Just about everything I do revolves around it, preparing for it and everything, and where I live in the world is dependent on fishing. My work schedule is dependent on fishing. I married someone who loves fishing almost as much as I do. It's just something I love. I can't imagine being without it.
My passion for fishing. Fishing's everything to me. I've actually never had a job outside of the fishing industry, be it guiding, retail, tournament fishing. It's kind of consumed my whole life right from an early age, and I can't imagine living without it. It drives you every day. You always want to improve. Everyone is always improving, so that leads you to improve. And fishing is the ultimate chess match. There's no guarantees, and it always keeps you on your toes. It's an amazing sport.
Well, if you just want to get into the bass fishing community, it's pretty simple. Like, don't start thinking you're going to win the KBI and the Canadian Bass Championship and all that in one year. There's lots of little tournaments that are $100 to get into, and you can just go have fun, get a feel for what's going on, and if you like it, just keep progressing from there. A lot of us have started out in 14-foot boats using coolers for live wells, and 1 or 2 rods, you steal a couple lures from your dad or whatever. So the community's great. Once you've shown a little bit of interest, there's always someone that'll take you under their wing and help you get started.